Okay, so the recording messed up, so I'm going to do a couple of these so you have extra examples of that Gauss-Jordan, what we did in class. So we need to put them into an augmented matrix and go for our identity on the left, our reduced row echelon form, and our answers on the y, or on the right. So our answer to that would be AB, meaning X was A and Y was B. So first thing I need to do is move the 6y over here to the left on that, so it would be negative. So I have negative 12 minus 6, and then 4. Oh, yes, 4 would stay over there. And the bottom equation is set up fine. So now I need to work on eliminating this negative 2. So I'm going to have to take, see, one's negative, one's positive, so row 1's going to have to be a negative R1, and then plus, get 2 to be 12 would be 6R2. So that would be positive 12, negative 12. Oh, I'm going to rewrite row 1 since I'm not changing it. Remember, keep those augmented lines lined up as much as possible. And then, so positive 12, negative 12 is 0. Positive 6 and negative 6 is 0. And I'd have negative 4 and negative 6. So that would give me negative 10. Well, right now we should already know that this is no solution, but I need to get as close as reduced row echelon form as possible. So this 12 needs to be a 1. So my last step would be negative, because it's negative, I have to make it positive. 1/12 multiplying by the reciprocal of R1. So that would give me 1. Negative and negative is a positive. 6/12 would be 1/2. And negative and 4/12 would be 1/3. 0, 0, negative 10. So my answer is no solution. Okay, 3 is negative 7y equals 7 plus 10x. And 0 equals 1 minus 5/17 y minus 4/17 x. Okay, so doing my augmented, I need to subtract this over. So it would be 10, negative 10, minus 7, and 7. Now, on this one, we have another fraction, and I do need to move both the x and the y over so they would become positive. But I also am going to multiply both sides, or all of it, by 17 when I do it, because then I can reduce out my fraction and be a little bit better off. So I would have 17 times 4/17 would be 4. And 17 times 5/17 would be 5. And then 17 times 1 would be 17. Yes, I did make my 1/17, but I don't have fractions any longer. So now I need to zero this 4 out. So I'm not going to change row 1. A lot of times today I just wouldn't mess with moving rows around or anything. You only have 2 rows, unless it's really, really going to make your life easier. So I would, 20 is your least common multiple. 10's negative, the 4's not, so I don't need to worry about that. So it's going to be 2R1 plus 5R2. So I'm going to have negative 20, positive 20 is 0. And then negative 14 and 25 would be 11. Remember, you can use this area over here to write things down if you need to. And then 14 and 5, 85. So that would be 99. So my next step is to go up and make this -7, 0. But I notice right here that 11 goes into 99. So I'm going to stop with my progression of getting my zeros and do a 1. I'm going to take 1/11 R2. I would not do this if 11 did not go in to 99 evenly. If it was like 90, I wouldn't do this because I wouldn't want to give myself fractions. So 0, 1, 9. And now I'm ready to go up and get this -7 to be a 0. So I need to make that 1 a 7. So I need to take 7 R2 plus R1. So 0 and -10 is -10. 7 and -7 is 0. And it would be 63 and 7 would be 70. I should have written my second row since I wasn't changing it. And then lastly, I just need to get that -10 to be a 1. So negative, because I want it positive, and the reciprocal. So I get 1. So that would be 1, 0, -7, and 0, 1, 9. And so my solution is -7, 9. Okay, the next problem we did in class is problem number 4. So I have -30x minus 3y equals 12. And -140x equals 14y plus 56. Now, I see right away that row 1 could be all divided by 3 or times 1/3. And I know 14 goes into 140. Does 14 go into 56? So I do some math, and it does 4 times. So where I can reduce both, and I don't want to deal with 140, this might be a good opportunity. So we're going to move the y over on the second equation, and then we're going to take and make our numbers a little smaller. So I've got, and we need to get one of them. I'll do the positive here. So I'm going to go -1/3 R1. And that's because both of my x's are negative, and one's going to have to be positive eventually. And then 1/14 R2. And I'm not doing the negative here because I want one negative, one positive. So I have 10 and 1, because I've got the negative, don't forget, and -4. And then I've got -10, and this is going to be a negative when I bring it over our y's, and it's going to be 1. And then that's going to be a 4. And so I need to zero this out, this -10 right here in this first column, second row. So I'm just going to take R1 plus R2 because they're the same. So 10, 1, -4, and I have 0, 0, and 0. So I know right now we have infinitely many solutions, but we have to finish it out. We've got to get that 10 to be a 1, so 1/10 R1. So 1, 1/10, and 4/10 would be -2/5. So I still had to get it as close to reduced row echelon of form as possible. Now the thing we do after we say infinitely many solutions now is I have to figure out an equation to put into a point so somebody can come up with one number and get both the x and the y. So what we do is we typically make y, or the bottom row, whatever variable that is, we make it a. It can be any other variable, but we typically just use a. So then up here, this first row, the equation for that would actually be x plus 1/10 y equals negative 2/5. Well, y is a, so I have x plus 1/10 a equals negative 2/5. And so we have to move over. So we have x equals negative 2/5 minus 1/10 a. I like to put it together as one fraction. So this would be a 4/10. So negative 4 minus a over 10. But you don't have to. Either way is fine. And then our point then would be negative 4 minus a over 10, comma, a. Okay, so the last problem we did in class, and the last one I'll record, is 5. We did it one more because we had fractions in 5. And so I have 18y minus 12x equals 66, and 27/5 x plus 72/5 equals 3y. So, well, again on this one, I see the first equation is divisible all by 6. So I'm going to take 1/6 R1. And I'm going to multiply by 5 definitely on R2. But in class, they noticed that 27, 72, and 3 were all divisible by 3. So they just did 5/3 to do both of that. So we'll go through that process here. So 1/6 of 18 is 3. Oh, I got to switch these two around, don't I? Okay, 1/6 of negative 12 is negative 2. 1/6 of 18 is 3. 1/6 of 66 is 11. Okay, so now how we do this is 27 times 5/3. So the 5's reduced, and 3 goes into 27 9 times. Now we do need to move this y over and the 72, so both of these are going to be negative because we're not changing those. So the 5 and the 5 reduce, and 3 goes into 17 24 times. Not 17, 72, excuse me. And then the 3's reduce, but 1 times 5 is 5. Okay, so we need to get rid of this 9. So the least common multiple between 2 and 19 is 18. And 2 is negative, so I don't need to worry about that. So I have 9R1 plus 2R2. I rewrite row 1 because I'm not changing it. And then 18 minus 18 is 0. And I'm going to write some off to the side because in class I was messing up. 3 times 9 is 27. And then negative 48. Nope, I'm gonna stop myself, come back up here. These two were supposed to be switched places because we switched them up and I didn't do it. So we should have -5 and -24. It's important to stop and take a minute to check your work, which I shouldn't have done. I should have done. Okay, so let's try this again. So I have 27 and then -10 is 17. And then I get 99 minus 48. Which is 51. Now, I want to check and see if 17 goes into 51 to make this process of getting that 3 as 0 easier. Well, let's see. 17 times 3 gives me 21. So 17 times 3 is 1, 2 is 51. So if I take 1/17 of row 2, I can get that smaller. So 1/17 row 2. So -2, 3, 11, and then 0, 1, and 3. So now to get that 3 in the second column, for first row, second column, I just have to do -3 R2 plus R1. So -2, 0, and -9 and 11 is 2. And so then this 2 needs to be a 1, +1, so -1/2. Oh, I got off the screen. Caught it before I finished my step. Okay, so again, this -2 needs to be +1, so -1/2, R1. So that'll be 1, 0, -1, 0, 1, 3. And my solution set is -1, 3.